order and design point to some type of intelligent mind. Let me just hop quickly on though. Yeah. Where is the creative mechanism in evolution? Because I believe in evolution as a process, but where is the creative mechanism in evolution?
You just said you had racist buddies?
Yes, I have racist friends.
Oh, okay. No, I got you.
And wait. No, and what do you think I say to my racist friends, guys? So if tomorrow I feel like a woman, does that make me a woman?
Sure, if you want to be.
Okay. I would argue that male and female is a biological thing.
Well, man and woman and male and female aren't the same thing. Gender and sex aren't the same, even by definition.
In order to understand goodness, there has to be a mind. This tree has no understanding of good. This cement has no understanding of good. See, good can't just exist. Because goodness requires definition. And it's an intangible value that you can't measure. You can't grab goodness.
Welcome to 1 hour of Cliffe debating atheists. Like and subscribe for more content. Let's dive into Cliffe debating a group of college students.
If something in my life is fulfilling and moral, why would he condemn or reject it?
Okay. Ma'am, I played basketball in college. Mm-hmm. And I can promise you, when we went on the road and played some of the colleges we did, there were women out there who my teammates really enjoyed having sex with. And I can promise you, after having sex with them, they didn't come back to our team plane and say, oh man, that was a bummer. That was not good. That was really horrible. No, they came back saying, wow, she was hot. And boy, you should have seen her in bed. Wow. Okay, so now you got to start thinking it through. Is there a purpose to life, or is there no purpose to life? Is there a purpose to sexuality, or is there no purpose to sexuality? And according to Christ, there is a purpose to life, there's a purpose to sexuality, there's a purpose to power, there's a purpose to money, there's a purpose to education. Mm-hmm. Find out what that purpose is from the God who created you, who loves you, who gave you the beautiful body that you have, the beautiful mind you have, all the gifts he's given you. I am here to introduce people, not to me. I am here to introduce people to Jesus Christ. And according to Christ, racism is wrong. Mm-hmm. What my teammates in college did, the fellow basketball teammates I had, when they went out and womanized, that was wrong. That doesn't mean you're less valuable than my basketball buddies, than my racist buddies. We're all human beings created in the image of God, and God loves all of us.
Wait, you just said you had racist buddies?
Yes, I have racist friends.
Oh, okay. No, I got you.
And wait. No, and what do you think I say to my racist friends, guys?
You just shouldn't be friends with them, though.
Oh, I see. So because you're racist, we can't be friends.
Yes.
Are you kidding?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
No, you guys are part of a cancel culture that doesn't understand grace and forgiveness. I have friends who have been sexist, who are racist, who are homophobic. I have skinhead friends. I have atheist friends. I have agnostic friends. I have friends who have date raped. I have friends who've done all types of evil. And I plead with them. I love you. I'm concerned about you. Please come to Christ and allow Christ to change your life. And I don't look into the face of a white racist and say, you're a piece of dirt and I don't want to be with you. No, I plead with them. No, I shouldn't. Jesus never treated anybody that way.
That's contradictory.
No, it's not.
God would not forgive that.
No, it's not contradictory. Let me explain. It's a great question.
That's not a
Man,
question.
do you think I've ever sinned? Good, you're right. You made a great point. Do you think I've ever sinned? Do you think I've ever done evil?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then why should Joshua be my friend? If I've done evil, why should Joshua be my friend in your cancel culture? Because I've done evil. You see, Jesus Christ contradicts cancel culture. Jesus Christ says you're all sinners. And now you better learn to love each other. You better learn to forgive each other. You better learn to accept each other. And so I love you and you.
That's completely different.
Ma'am, you don't think that I look my racist friend in the face and say, keep being racist, buddy, because I like it. No. When I am with my racist friends, I say, buddy, will you please think harder? Why are you racist?
I just don't understand how you can preach about, any Christian I meet. It's spreading love. It's I'm gonna pray for you. I hope you find your way. Like this very positive, outlook. But yet you can accept people for being racist, for having these sinful natures. Like it's almost like you're only fitting these standards to what you want to agree with, and not having an actual baseline rule for yourself. It's
All
only
right,
what's
here's
convenient.
the baseline rule. He is a sinner, and I love this sinner. I hate his sin, but I love him a sinner, which is the same way I view myself. I'm a sinner. I hate my sin. I hate my sin, but I affirm my value as a human being.
That's different because that's an internal struggle. Okay, that's something that I don't like about myself that I want to change. But it is completely different when you put that outward towards another human being, to show that hatred towards someone else. And the fact that you can accept that because it's it's something they need to work on. No, that's totally okay working on yourself. But as soon as you exude that hatred towards other people, that's when it becomes not okay.
What are you doing right now to me?
I'm not being hateful at all towards you.
No, but you're correcting me. You're saying you're right and I'm wrong. And guess what? I respect you. That's fine. But don't you see how you're contradicting yourself? You're telling me not to hate his lust and anger. You're telling me that to accept the man means I got to say your lust is cool, your anger is cool.
I think
That is not love. To love the man means I want his best. And I'm convinced that if he lives a life of lust and anger, it's going to hurt him. Therefore, I'm going to plead with him. Please follow Christ and change by the grace of God. And guess what? He's going to say the same thing to me. And we're going to be brothers who really care about each other. We're not going to be some superficial twits who go around saying, oh, you want to lust after women? Go after them, man. Because we know that that's dishonoring to Christ. And we both want to follow Christ.
no, I'm sorry. Do you mind if I
No,
start?
go ahead.
I think that it is absolutely beautiful to support your friends when they are working through something. I think that's great.
Thank you.
But when it gets to the point that what your friend is going through is being harmful to the other people around them,
Yeah?
there's a certain threshold that gets crossed where you can no longer support that person and you need to pull back.
Exactly.
To be friends with someone who is, because they can't think that that's okay. To be friends with someone who's outwardly racist or homophobic, who
Outwardly.
is hurting those people.
And you're claiming to have friends who have committed date rape and you're chill with it? Like you're just still their friend.
I never once
You're
said
still
I'm
their
chill with
buddy.
it.
Well,
You guys are not listening. You're blinded by your emotions. I said that if he lusts, if he's a date raper, I'm not going to look him in the face and say, oh, Joshua, that's really cool that you date rape. I'm chill about that. No, I'm going to say, Joshua, I love you, and you're a friend of mine, and I'm pleading with you, because I love you, refrain from date rape. It's evil, it's sinful, it's wrong. But Joshua, you got to understand that I'm not better than you, because I'm a sinner also. And I need you to hold me accountable. And when I blow it, because you're my friend, I want you to tell me that I'm blowing it. I don't want you to just say, oh, chill, everything's chill. No, everything's not chill.
I wouldn't say that either. I would say, okay, you date raped? Sorry, we're not friends anymore.
Okay.
I can't be a person in your life if you're gonna do that. If you have done that. If you come back to me and say that you corrected that, you've turned yourself in, you made amends years later, maybe.
But what you define as wrong and sinful, that's what we're arguing.
That's
because
right.
You can't see people on that. You can't support that kind of person.
And that's your problem with Jesus. I understand. Because Jesus had the audacity to say, you've heard that it was said, do not commit adultery. But I tell you that if you lust after a woman, you've committed adultery with her in his heart. And both Joshua and I have lusted. Which means, although neither one of us have date raped, we have sinned. Which means not only does a date rape need forgiveness, but Joshua and I, Cliff, need forgiveness because we both have lusted. No, Joshua, I don't think you've ever date raped, have you? No, neither have I. Okay? So, but we both have lusted. Now here's the challenge. The challenge is for Joshua and me not to say, well, we really are superior moral beings because we've never date raped. No, we're not superior. We have lusted, which is dehumanizing a woman, and it's wrong. It's not as bad as date rape, but it is wrong. Therefore, Joshua and I need Christ. We need his forgiveness. We need his help to change.
And I hope you find him.
Good. Good. I hope you find him also.
First thing is that born and raised, I'm an atheist.
Yep.
Like, I have never had faith in a higher power during my life.
Right.
I do not have faith in the Bible as a source. What proof do you have outside of that?
Good. The first piece of evidence, not proof, but the first piece of evidence that points me to God is order and design do not come out of chaos by chance.
Right.
Order and design point to some type of intelligent mind.
Biology student myself.
Yes.
I'm a firm believer in kind of principles of evolution.
Good.
That kind of thing.
Let me just hop quickly on though.
Yeah.
Where is the creative mechanism in evolution? Because I believe in evolution as a process, but where is the creative mechanism in evolution?
I don't think I fully understand the question, but
How do you get something from nothing in evolution?
the thing is that it didn't come from nothing. I forgot what the exact title of the experiment, but there is this idea that the primordial soup, right?
Yeah.
The oceans of a primordial Earth with
Sir, I think we can bring this one to a conclusion fairly quickly. I am convinced that before the Big Bang, there was nothing.
right.
Okay, and that's what Einstein acknowledged. And that's why Einstein tried to beat the Big Bang mathematically.
I see.
And he introduced a fudge factor to try and prove that the Big Bang was not true. Because Einstein understood, if the Big Bang is true, my pantheism, which means everything is God, is wrong. There's a creator. Because everything that has a beginning has a cause. The universe has a beginning, therefore the universe has a cause, and it's far more reasonable to believe in the beginning an intelligent mind caused it than to believe nothing caused it.
Right.
And that's philosophically unacceptable. Bang! What caused that? Nothing. That is stupidity. Rank stupidity. Everything that has a beginning has a cause. The universe has a beginning, therefore the universe has a cause. What is the best answer to the question, who caused the universe?
In that case, it would be God, right?
Yeah, God is the most reasonable explanation.
Then what is our explanation for the beginning of God?
Great question. It is idolatry to think God has a beginning. Because the God who has revealed himself through Jesus Christ has revealed himself as eternal. So when I begin to say, well, who created God? It means I don't understand who God has revealed himself to be. Nobody created God because God does not have a beginning. Remember, I didn't say everything has a cause. I said everything that has a beginning has a cause. God is eternal, so God does not have a cause. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and in that case, that's kind of my view for, well, existence itself without a creator. Because God does not have a cause,
Right.
and, well, we exist, so how is it so much more to believe that existence itself does not have a cause?
Because existence cannot come out of non-existence.
But God can.
No, God doesn't come out of anything. See, there's nothing before God that God comes out of, because God is eternal. No beginning, no end. But everything that has a beginning, like this guy and me, there's got to be a cause for him and me, because we definitely have a beginning. And we're getting a little older, so we're not going to be around a lot longer, okay? But we have a beginning, which means there's got to be a cause for this dude and for this dude. Make sense?
Of course.
Good. Well, I thank you for that, okay? All right, now quickly, let's just go through some other pieces of evidence of why we believe God exists.
Of course.
Moral absolutes. I'm convinced to the root of my being that if this guy pulls out a knife and sticks it in your body,
Right.
that is absolutely wrong, because this man is violating your value.
Of course.
Now, the only way you can have value is if someone created you. Because if nobody created you, you just happened by accident. Which means any value you have is either you gave it to yourself, or I gave it to you and some powerful people, or your culture did.
Right.
Right?
And-
But I would argue that it's still relative. The reason I'm convinced that if he sticks a knife into you, it's evil, is because you have innate value that comes from your creator, who created you for a purpose and who really loves you. Third one is moral absolutes, objective morals pointing to some type of creator. Fourth one is this: your rational mind. Does it come from the non-rational, or does it come from the rational? An atheist is someone who says, my rational mind comes from the non-rational. I can't. That doesn't make any sense. The rational comes from the rational. The rational does not come from the irrational, which is why, not that I've proven God, but it's evidence that it's more reasonable to say we come from God, not that we come from the non-rational.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I believe so. Define the rational and the non-rational. I don't think I understand where we come from.
All right. You have the ability, and hopefully I have the ability, to think rationally. All right? That is why, if I make a rational mistake, you're going to look me in the face and say, Cliff, that makes no sense.
Right.
That's irrational. Okay, my ability to think rationally comes from rational being. It doesn't come from this. This has no ability to rationalize. Neither does that tree.
Of course.
But you and I do. So is it more reasonable to think that our ability to reason comes from a rational being, God, or is it more reasonable to believe that our rational talent comes from the non-rational, just from matter and energy?
This is difficult for me because I just see us on different wavelengths, honestly. Like, we do believe different things, apparently.
Yes, we believe different things.
And
You'll be next.
just for these pieces of evidence, I see these coming from not a higher power, but from necessity.
From,
Necessity.
well, what does that mean?
Because, say, coming from my point of view, every piece of a human comes from a piece of evidence. Like, every piece of a human is part of necessity and gives someone more chance of survival. So, say our morality. I see you didn't like that. Say morality. If you were to stab me, say we're part of the same tribe,
Yeah?
ancient human.
Yeah?
If he were to stab me while we were out, say, gathering berries, he can't. The tribe has lost a member.
Yeah?
We can't have as many berries now, and he can't carry back as much food. Perhaps now, even then, my parents are going to be mad at him, and the tribe breaks apart. Like, equals less survival and less humans.
Maybe. Does rape help the human experiment continue?
No.
Yes, it does. Rape can produce babies.
Yes, but
Survival of the fittest. Why should I not steal his backpack? If survival of the fittest is true, why should I not steal his backpack?
Well, the thing is that you're part of the same tribe.
So what?
We're part of the same society. That doesn't benefit anybody. If you are of different tribes, that isn't necessarily immoral, at least in the human perspective.
No. If what you say is true, then if I want to be part of a gang, and the gang says, in order to be part of our tribe, our gang, you got to go out and murder. Does that make me going out and murder good?
No,
Thank you.
because that's unnecessary murder of people in the same city, the same tribe.
No. I want to be part of a gang, which is a tribe, a family. And in order to be part of a gang, they're telling me I got to go out and murder. My desire to be part of a tribe, the tribe defining good and evil. Is that really objective morality? Does that really make it good because the tribe says it's good?
No.
Thank you. Which is why you and I need to acknowledge God exists, because God's character, which is just, defines murder as being wrong. I don't care what gang or what tribe or what nation, be it Nazi Germany or whatever, says it's good. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, good. So I need to move on to another person, but I cannot thank you enough for your respectful thinking, and I appreciate it a lot.
But do you understand how it might make some people feel like you're saying that?
Oh, no doubt about it. We live in a culture where, when President Trump won the election a few years ago, college students went to crying chambers for counseling. When my dad was 18 years old, he sat up on a mountain in Switzerland and looked at Hitler's panzer divisions about to storm into Switzerland. Fortunately for my dad, they didn't. All right? So there is a big cultural change from 18-year-olds getting ready to go fight in World War II versus a culture where college students are saying, please help me. I'm emotionally falling apart because Donald Trump won the election. There's a big difference. So yes, I can understand why people will say, Cliff, you standing out here saying Jesus Christ is the truth hurts me It offends me. So yeah, I understand that. So if tomorrow I feel like a woman, does that make me a woman?
Sure, if you want to be.
Okay. I would argue that male and female is a biological thing.
Well, man and woman and male and female aren't the same thing. Gender and sex aren't the same, even by definition.
I would insist that female means a woman, male means a man.
Why?
And I would argue that if I wake up tomorrow and feel like a woman, my feelings are out of touch with reality. Because in reality, I'm not a woman. In reality, I'm a man.
Why?
Why?
Yeah, why is that reality?
Because that is what the language male and female means, and that is my experience of reality.
Okay.
If I feel like Superman tomorrow, that does not make me Superman.
Why
If I
not?
feel like, because I can't fly, and if I try and jump off the side of that building because I think I'm Superman, I'll kill myself by splattering all of the cement down there. And if I feel tomorrow like I'm Albert Einstein, in reality, I'm not Albert Einstein. I have nowhere near the intellectual strength in mathematics and science that Einstein had.
Okay, but you're listing characters and specific people. Genders and characters and specific people aren't the same thing.
Oh, I think
That's
gender
not
is very
comparable.
physical. You're either male or
That's
female.
sex.
Very
There's a
biological.
difference. If you look up the definition, it's very different, sex versus gender.
Just because I feel something doesn't make it true.
Sort of. I feel like you still didn't really address what I was saying about sex and gender being
Fine,
different.
ma'am. So if you want to call yourself a horse, that's fine with me. You're a horse. I love horses, okay? If you want to call yourself they or it or he or she, go right ahead. Call yourself whatever you want to. And I respect your right to call yourself whatever you want to. I don't understand it because I don't think you're a horse. I don't think you're a they. I think you're a person that I'm trying to take seriously. And based on what I see, I don't think you're a guy. Maybe you are.
I'm not a guy.
All right, okay. So I would call you she. But if you don't like that, tell me what you want me to call you and I'll try and call you it.
Whatever pronouns, I don't care. But
All right.
I don't know. I'm confused. If you're so into like seeking truth, I'm confused why you don't have a reason for why you say that sex and gender aren't different when
Well, what is the difference? Just to educate me. Tell me, what's the difference between gender and sex?
sex is your like reproductive organs
Okay.
and gender is the like social constructs and
Yeah.
like things associated to that. So is a person going to go to hell or face some sort of issues if they identify as gay, if they are intersex and choose not to have an operation, if they choose not to adhere to normal gender norms?
No, nobody goes to heaven because they say, I'm a guy, or I'm a girl, or I'm they. It's not the issue. The issue is how do you as a person respond to Jesus Christ, respond to God? That's the issue.
Okay, so if they decide to be in a relationship with a man or a woman and they're also a man or a woman, like, is that a sin that is going to send them to hell because they choose to do that? Are they
Ma'am.
still not responding to Jesus Christ in the right way just because they want to love someone else?
I have not responded to Jesus Christ in the right way. I am a sinner.
Okay.
I have perverted the gift of human sexuality that God has given me. Through heterosexual lust, I have perverted that gift. I don't deserve heaven, but God loves this sinner so much that he sent his son Christ to die on a cross to forgive me for my wrongdoing. I have put my faith in Christ, and he's forgiven me and given me eternal life. Now, just because someone has twisted the gift of sex differently from me, doesn't mean that they don't need Christ just as much as I do. So the question is, are we willing to repent, ask Christ for forgiveness, and put our faith in him? Or are we just going to go and rationalize our wrongdoing? I mean, it's not difficult for me to understand why prostitutes that I've worked among say, listen, Cliff, it's the best way for me to earn money. So I'm going to be a prostitute. I understand that. But I plead with them, that is not what God intended you to do with your beautiful body. So, why would I choose to be a follower of Christ? I choose to be a follower of Christ Because I look at all the options that I'm presented with, and to be honest with you, ma'am, the options that I was presented with most starkly was materialism. I grew up in a very wealthy suburb of New York City, and it was very clear what God is. Your stock portfolio and your bank account. That's what's ultimately worthy of your worship. And if you don't make a lot of money, you are a loser. Secondly, I was presented with the option of hedonism. All of my friends did drugs and slept around. And they kind of made fun of me for not. So that I had to seriously consider that as an option. It was right in my face. Another option I was faced with was atheism and agnosticism, because I had a number of professors who were atheists and agnostic, and they really tried to convince me that atheism or agnosticism was the way to go. So I looked at all those clearly, as I was able to, but I also looked at Jesus Christ, and I read the Gospels, and I began to look at my life, my experience of life, and my thinking, and my observation of other lives. And I became convinced over a long period of time that Jesus Christ was so superior to every other option. It's a no-brainer. A no-brainer. Then I began to speak on college campuses, and I began to realize, you know, some of these professors are a lot more intelligent and a lot more educated than I am. So maybe they know something that I don't know. And so I began to ask very intelligent professors. We're talking MIT, Columbia, University of Pennsylvania, the Ivy League schools. We're talking about Stanford. And I would ask them two questions. The first question was, what are you living for? And the second question was, what's the evidence that what you are living for is true? And ma'am, the answers that I got to those two questions were scary. They were so poorly thought out. They were backed by almost no evidence. I became more and more convinced Jesus Christ is the truth. Now, if you don't understand what I'm saying, just listen to the people who've been challenging me out here. What people like to do is poke holes in Christianity, in Jesus Christ. Okay? Fair enough. No problem. But you see, here's the problem. The problem is, after you finish poking holes, you got to go home the same way I got to go home. You got to put your head on a pillow and go to sleep, and I got to put my head on a pillow and go to sleep. What are you living for, buddy? And what's the evidence that what you are living for is true? Some of you should be really squirming right now, because you know very, very well that you have never asked, what is the evidence that whatever it is I've chosen to live for is true?
Kind of challenge you on your two pieces of evidence for God.
Yes.
So, intelligent designer, you said the eye, human eye, so there has to be a designer. But then you also said evolution is true. So you don't need a designer for making eyes, do you? You can evolve an eye.
You never get something from nothing.
Quantum physics, again, kind of challenges that one.
No, it doesn't.
Yes.
It challenges it, but it cannot make a strong case. Why? Because it's a philosophical issue. It's not a scientific issue. Can you get something from nothing?
There's a book called Something from Nothing. A Universe from Nothing by Lawrence Krauss. Have you read it?
So, no, I've not read it.
Okay.
No, it's impossible philosophically for you to get something where there's nothing. It's irrational. The only thing that comes from nothing is nothing. You never get something coming from nothing. Second point is, where is the creative mechanism in evolution? The creative mechanism in evolution does not exist. There is no creative mechanism in evolution. Is there?
There's 2 points. There's the evolution and making an eye, and then there's the universe from nothing. That's two kind of separate arguments, right?
Yeah, one is design, and the other is something from nothing.
Yes.
Two different arguments, yes.
Okay. So, something from nothing. Firstly, we're not 100% sure the Big Bang is the beginning of the universe.
We're not 100% sure of anything.
So
Agreed.
There are many different other theories than
Yes.
a God.
Yep.
I mean, there's the multiverse. God is one of many theories for how our universe came to be. Would you agree?
No. There are many different theories, Agree with you in that. But no, the idea of a multiverse has zero evidence to support it.
I would.
It's
not agree with
impossible
that.
to. Well, all right, fine. What's the evidence that they're multiverses?
Cosmic inflation. So directly after the Big Bang, there was a period of inflation. Not the inflation we see in the universe now. There was a speeded up inflation period, and the best explanation for that at the moment is kind of like a mother universe with many patches that experience inflation, and so there's many universes out there. That's kind of the one.
The mother universe.
And yes, and then
has little progeny of the different universes. What on earth does that mean?
it means there's a kind of bigger reality outside of the universe we see and know.
What's the evidence that there's a bigger reality outside of this universe that we live in?
There are different models.
Models.
Yes.
So because there's someone has, with a fertile imagination, come up with another model?
Like the God hypothesis. Yes, that's also just a model.
No, it's not. It is based on my experience of reality, which is you don't get order and design by accident.
Yeah,
This
but
BMW is
you
not a
do.
result of an explosion in a junkyard.
No.
Shakespeare's plays are not a result of an explosion over a computer or from monkeys tapping on the computer. You only get order and design, be it a building, a car, an article of clothing, if there's a rational mind involved.
That's not entirely true.
Well, then give me some examples that
but
contradict
again,
it.
there's two different arguments here. There's the universe one, and then there's design or kind of complex, mechanisms out there, like the eye. Or you can get humans from evolution, starting with a basic replicator.
Oh, I said that. I agreed with that.
But why do you then need a designer when
Because
you can get it
do
from?
not have order and design without an intelligent mind involved.
But
And
we-
secondly, you
we
don't get
just agreed
something
you
coming
do.
from nothing. It's impossible.
Again, that's two different arguments. Let's
I'm aware it's two different arguments.
Which one do you want to argue? Let's say
You choose.
let's do the evolution one, right? Okay. So imagine there's a very basic molecule, right? And it can replicate itself in the primordial soup, as it's been called. Over 4 billion years, directed by natural selection, not a designer, not a god, you can evolve complex life, starting from a very simple basic building block. Do you agree with that or not?
I think it's rather clear that it's impossible to get a genetic code out of primordial soup by accident. The genetic code where proteins are allowed to be produced is far too complex a genetic code for me to say, okay, it's all just an accident. It just happens by chance. The amount of information in the DNA of a single cell is far more than the amount of information in 3 sets of the 30-volume Encyclopedia Britannica. When you study the amount of information in the DNA of a cell, it is mind-boggling.
Yes,
and it's
after
real
4
simple.
billion years.
So what if it's a few billion years? I don't care if it's a trillion years. You don't get that kind of order and design by chance. There's got to be an intelligent mind of some type.
Again, it's not complete chance. The mutations are chance, but it's guided by natural selection.
No. You do not have 1 + 1 = 2 guiding anything. 1 + 1 = 2 is a very accurate description, mathematically, in arithmetic, of if you have 1 and another 1, it equals 2. But guess what? 1 + 1 = 2 does not put any money in my bank account. I have to put the money, an intelligent being, into my bank account. Now, is 1 + 1 = 2 true? Yes, it is. But it doesn't do anything creative. It simply describes reality, which is if you have 1 + 1, then you got 2. That's what science is. That's what mathematics is. It's tremendously sophisticated. It's absolutely magnificent. I love it. But it is intellectually dishonest to say, therefore, because I know that 1 + 1 = 2, therefore I'm going to have $2 in my bank account. No. It's not just going to happen.
I honestly do not understand your argument there.
It's okay.
I'm just saying, this 1 + 1 = 2 abstract numbers, that's not where I'm going with this. I'm just saying that the accumulation of very simple processes can lead to something complex.
How in the world, though, do you believe in that naturalistic process if modern science, just recently, in the last 10 years, there's consensus on a cell cannot evolve? There's trucks within a cell that work together, but there's no evolutionary process with a cell.
Any non-Christian apologetic scientist that you can point me to?
I don't know many scientific apologists who are non-Christian.
A single cell, there's evidence for when the first single cell engulfed another cell, and that was the start of multicellular life, right? They've reproduced that process in the lab.
No.
So so once you have that, then you can.
But there's no scientific evidence to that. There's no evidence behind that. You just asked me where I got mine. Where do you get the evidence that Lawrence Krauss does not? I've talked to Lawrence Krauss before. He does not believe that. He does not say that a cell can just pop up out of nowhere and then just evolve and self-replicate.
I also never say the cell pops out of nowhere.
Okay. So where does it come from then?
Okay. So firstly, that's. Okay, I do not know.
Okay,
right?
good. Bravo. All right, bravo. Very good. How can good just exist?
Good could possibly, because I don't know if there's a God or not. But I mean, if there is such a thing as a God that is out of time, like that is eternal, why can't other concepts like good just be out of time and eternal, just a thing that exists like God?
Okay. Sir, good is an intangible value. You cannot see good.
You can't see God either.
Exactly. You cannot measure good, right?
You can't measure God. It could exist eternally, just like it could just be God. It could just be God. It could not be just God. It could just be the existence of good and evil that just exists in the world. But given a tri-omni God who's all-powerful and all-caring, why evil and suffering exists doesn't make sense to me.
Okay, good. You hang with me and we'll go.
He's as powerful and caring as he says.
In order to understand goodness, there has to be a mind. This tree has no understanding of good. This cement has no understanding of good. See, good can't just exist. Because goodness requires definition. And it's an intangible value that you can't measure. You can't grab goodness. Which means you got to have a mind involved in defining what is good.
If we're going by that definition, then what is defining God?
Okay,
what
we'll
created
get to that.
God?
We'll get to that.
All the arguments you could give for God could also go for good, just as a general concept. It could just exist eternally out of time, unmeasurable.
No, sir. That's not fair. If God exists, God doesn't depend on anybody. If goodness as an intangible value exists, it depends on a mind to define it.
God would also be an intangible.
Obviously, that's right.
It's like coming from a different viewpoint, outside of trying to see where, the reasoning for things. You could say that it could be what we define as God, societally, could just be the existence of just that good, in the same context of eternal and timeless and all that.
If there is no God, goodness is not eternal, because goodness demands a mind to define it. Which means,
then in giving that same argument, then what mind defines God? There would be something above him if something has to make him or define him.
No, God can be an eternal being without beginning, without end.
I don't think you see my point, because goodness could be the same thing.
You're not listening, sir.
You're giving goodness a different definition.
No, sir, you're not listening to me, and I don't appreciate it. I told you flat out, and I think you're smart enough to get this point. Goodness demands some mind to define it. The tree, the cement, has no ability to understand goodness. You've got to have a mind. Do you see that, or do you disagree with me?
I think we're coming to different definitions of good, because then, there's still... outside of that, though, given your definition of good, still, why is evil or suffering?
Forget my definition of good. Your definition of good.
I'm just saying, given yours, why does evil and suffering exist?
All right, all right,
You're
fine.
evading that part of the
move on
question.
to that, okay? But sir, I got a real problem with your thinking, all right? I don't think you're being honest with yourself. That's not fair. You know very well that I've cornered you totally, intellectually. You know very well that you cannot have goodness without some type of mind to create and define it. It's impossible. This does not define goodness. That does not define goodness. And that camera does not define goodness. And your glasses do not define goodness. Neither does your shirt, your pants, or your sneakers. You've got to have a mind to define goodness. Sorry, you have no option intellectually. This has nothing to do with God. It has nothing to do with Jesus. It has to do with simply thinking fairly. All right, moving on to next. Okay, but your point is, okay, but if this good God exists, why is there evil and suffering? It's real simple, sir. If an all-powerful God chooses to partially limit his power by giving you a free will, by giving me a free will, then if I go up to her, slap her in the face, and say, God made me do it, what am I? A liar. A total liar. God gave me a hand for a purpose, to respect this woman, to love this woman. But because I have a free will, I don't have to respect her, I don't have to love her, I can steal her backpack, I can smack her around, I can abuse her. And if anybody says, God made me do it, they are a liar. Flat out. So, why does evil exist? Evil exists because God limited his power, he's all-powerful, but he limited his power by choosing to give her a free will, me a free will, all of us a free will. Does that make any sense?
It kind of answers it for humanity, but suffering also exists just in the animals.
Good.
Like, why does a zebra deserve to get its throat crushed to death by a lion? Like,
Good.
How is that caring or just? Like, coming from a Christian standpoint, we have sinned as humans, coming from the Christian standpoint, so we are, we have free will and we can make mistakes and all that.
Yep.
But why have animals just, not have their perfect little ecosystem where nothing has to suffer and only humans suffer?
Very good. Now we're thinking, all right? So, Genesis chapters 1 and 2. God creates a good world. God created this and God saw that it was good. God created that and God saw that it was good. God created this and God sees that it's good. So when God created, he did a good job. No evil. But Genesis chapter 3 records how human beings rebel against God. And one of the consequences of human beings telling God, get lost, get out of here, is God honors our free will, takes a step back from planet Earth, and nature unravels. And so you're absolutely correct, sir. Animals suffer. I have suffered. We all will suffer. Not because God is sicking us, but because God created a world with free will, people with free will. We chose him to tell him to get out. When he gets out, chaos fills the gap. Genetic breakdown, death occur.
Because humans decided to reject God, God punished the animals.
One of the consequences...
It seems uncaring and unjust, given a triomni God.
No, it's an issue of consequences. Who put Texas State together? Did they do it last summer?
Well, the consequence should go to the humans that did it. You don't punish someone else for somebody else's misdoing.
That would be a nice way for things to happen. But unfortunately, because I have free will, if you're a husband and I smack you around, it might affect how you treat your wife when you go home tonight. It might affect how you treat your kids when you go home tonight. You see, for me to think that, well, I've got free will and it's just me and it's just you, and there are no consequences to the way I exercise my free will, that's a lie. Total lie.
Well, how I would interact with animals is one thing, but how animals should interact with each other. Why does suffering exist between animals, not from humans to animals, but between animals, suffering exists. Why are they being punished through suffering between themselves?
They're not being punished.
If they didn't do anything wrong.
You're correct. You're absolutely correct. They didn't do anything wrong. The same way, little babies that I have to bury didn't do anything wrong. But they're born into an unfair world where birth defects occur, and so babies die. Not because they've done something wrong. They have not done anything wrong. but they are born into an unfair, unjust, messed up world. Thanks for raising those issues. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so I do think you can form like meaningful commitments of love without a model of being a Christian, though.
Sure, absolutely.
But I don't think they're delusional and also obligation generating, right? Like most contemporary theorists of love really do want to say like robust concern theory of like, I have such an impartial, like a partial concern for you. That justifies my love. So I'm not like sure that most people think, or for me even, I'm not sure I think that you have to have a Christian model in order to have true partial giving love, right?
Right, you don't have a Christian model, but in order to have real love, there's got to be a mind with a will. Why? Because if you say there is no God, what is reality made up of?
Well, I do think it's matter and energy, but love also
energy.
exists. No, but like, I can also have love within this like confines of my brain and these emotions I have, but it's not just emotions, it's also partiality generating. It's also like now that I love, say, my partner is now my beloved and I have an extra obligations to them. So it's not just that like, oh, love doesn't matter at all.
Have you ever loved an enemy?
Have you ever loved an enemy?
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean by an enemy here?
Did you love someone who hurt you?
Sounds like an antonym.
I think like that can be a charitable action, but it wouldn't be required of me to love someone who hurt me.
All right. You're choosing to say, this person is so valuable that in spite of the fact that they have threatened my survival, I'm going to love them and care for them. That is love. Now, I've experienced that, and I think almost every one of you here have experienced it. I don't care if you're an atheist, agnostic, or Christian. That experience shows you that there is some type of God, not Christ. It has nothing to do with Christ, okay? But it's got to tell you there's more to reality than matter and energy. There's this innate human being that every human being has to genuinely care for someone else, even their enemy. Now that's weird. All right?
So you're saying two premises are true, and then just assuming a conclusion. But we don't agree on those two premises. We agree on the first one, not the second one, right? But I don't have to buy into this logic that because love exists and things are material, I can't love. Again, we all experience objects of us, and we experience loving objects, we experience loving agents, loving people. We experience the partial benefits we get from our reciprocal love. But that doesn't commit us to this idea that now I have to be a materialist, right?
Yes, it does.
No, why?
An atheist is saying there is no God. That being does not exist. That's what an atheist is saying.
Sure.
In other words, an atheist is limiting reality. No, God is not real. Obviously, matter, energy, that's obviously real.
So are you going to give an argument besides just pointing and saying, like, material?
No,
and then love exists, so God. But that's
it's very simple, sir. I'm trying to take your thinking to its logical conclusion, and you're not following.
It's not the logical conclusion,
I'm up a creek without a
It's not
paddle.
the logical conclusion
You're not following.
I think love exists. That's my premise. And I primitively experience it, empirically evident that I love my partner, I love my parents.
Now the question is why?
Why do I love my parents and partner?
Yeah.
Because I have found myself in the obligation, generation, participation.
Did
where
you hear what you said?
Emotion.
I have found myself. What is yourself?
Sure, I am Caden. I'm this person. What
is a person?
What is a person?
Yeah, what is a person?
I don't know. Let's ask Cliff. What is a person?
If you're an atheist, a person is matter and energy evolved to a higher order. There's no personhood.
Okay.
There's no him. There's no me. There's a very nice hunk of matter evolved to a higher order. There's a not so nice looking hunk of matter evolved to a higher order, okay? But that's all that is.
Where you just keep saying it is evidently material. And therefore love cannot exist in a material universe.
All right, I'm going to try and get you emotionally now. If I say to you, I believe in Jesus, and then you watch me go out and womanize, what would you call me?
A Christian.
A little louder. Hypocrite.
Yeah.
If I say I'm a follower of Christ, and you watch me go out and womanize, I'm a hypocrite. Yeah. Similarly, if you tell me I'm an atheist, but love is real, meaning by that, the ability to freely care for another person, to forgive your enemy. If you're going to tell me as an atheist that that's real, I'm going to say you are an intellectual hypocrite.
Okay, so
because you're not being consistent with your belief. Your belief is there's no such thing as me. No. There's just a chemical reaction. So therefore, I don't choose to forgive him. My chemicals program me, and I do whatever I do. And it's not good, it's not evil, it just is. It's my chemicals forcing me to treat him a certain way. Does that make sense?
Things can be analytically true, though, right?
All right,
like
fine. I think we've beaten a dead horse now.
Yeah, sure.
If you can't understand my point,
No, you don't
I'm
have
having
a
a rough
point.
time.
Yeah.
Okay?
I think
No, you guys, you're not being rational. You're being irrational.
I'm not being rational because you have two premises where you assume premise 2 and then you just say conclusion 3 exists.
No, I've assumed one thing, that you love. It's the
I
only
do
thing
love.
I've said. Thank you. So my assumption is right. Now, the second question is, what is love? And if you're an atheist, you have to say, love is a biochemical reaction.
No, you don't.
Which means you don't have a free will, you just are. Your biochemical reaction in your brain is going off, and you call it love. And I'm saying that's baloney.
So you might have the biochemical reaction where I now feel pain because someone hit me. And you might have the biochemical reaction that I now feel love because I'm in an emotive state of a long-lasting relationship. Would you say those are the exact same thing?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay, why though?
Because I've made my case very clear.
No, it's
I don't
not.
have to forgive him when he hurts
Is it
me.
because
I don't
I'm
have to
material?
love him if he's my enemy. I can freely choose to forgive him. I can freely choose to love him if he's hurt me. And he can do the same to me. We are free. We have a free will. The only way you can have a free will is if there is more to you than a chemical reaction.
No, I'm not
if it's
worried
just a
about that.
chemical reaction, you ain't free.
If I go through my whole life and I have no proof of God, then do I just go to hell? There's no proof within me for me to believe God, to verify God is real. How does that come to me then? If how am I to believe God?
The reason that you should believe that God exists is because the order and design of the universe points to some type of intelligent mind. Secondly, the fact that you have reason points you to the fact that there's got to be a rational being behind you. Why? Because reason does not come from non-reason. Reason comes from reason. This does not bring about reason.
We're coming to a point where it's like you're grabbing reason from non-reason. You're trying to rationalize things that we can't possibly understand. Like there's no way we can verify what was before our existence. There's no way we can verify what was before Earth or even before the universe. So
if you mean prove, I agree. If you mean evidence, I disagree. I cannot prove to you that that was made by a watchmaker. But the overwhelming evidence of the intricate order and design of the wristwatch convinces me this was not an accident that came together on the side of the road that I picked up this morning. This is a result of an intelligent mind bringing order out of chaos.
I love this example, but it's also, you can understand the watchmaker. You can't understand God creating universe.
No, you're right, I can't. But I can understand that order and design do not come about by chance out of chaos. I do understand that reason does not come from non-reason. Reason comes from reason. I do understand that plant life, animal life, and human life comes from life. No plant life, no human life, no animal life comes from non-life. An atheist is someone who says, oh, no. Life comes from non-life. Reason comes from non-reason.
I have an objection.
Okay, what is it?
Cells come from non-life. Like the basic unit living of life come from non-life. And that's what animals come from. Cells? Like, cells don't just come into being, they come from like non-living things.
Like what?
Like, I'm not sure what cells are made. I mean, quarks. Quarks are atoms, things like that. You say those are non-living, correct?
This is non-life. Inanimate matter. You don't get life coming out of inanimate matter. Do you?
Well, it's sort of the thing where like monkeys and humans, so we both came from a common ancestor, but we diverged, correct?
Okay.
Right?
So what?
So, I mean, non-life and life
No,
could
a
have
monkey's
diverged
a living
from
being.
Sorry?
A monkey is a living animal. So if we come from monkeys, it doesn't change the fact that life comes from life. Now, if you're going to tell me that we come out of a brick, that we come out of this metal here,
No.
I'm going to say, wow.
I'm saying we diverged. So, like, monkeys right now, we don't come from them. We come from an ancestor of the monkey.
Okay.
And then we diverge. So, like, same thing could happen with life in this brick. Like, we both are made of the same atoms, and somehow the atoms diverge into some organization of cells, and these didn't, and now they're bricks. that makes sense? In a
Nope,
way?
doesn't make sense.
Why? Why?
It's simple, it's simple.
Why is not coming up?
It's because he wants you to love him. And love cannot force. No. You cannot force someone to love you.
I see you.
Yeah, I can't force you to love me.
I know, but...
Okay, God is not going to force you to love him. God loves you, and because he loves you, he waits for you to love him. Now, second point is this.
I want to see it.
Fine. Look at Jesus. Then that's the way you see God. Look at Jesus. You read about him.
There's no movie. There's nothing.
All right. But the game that you're playing, I'll tell you why it's wrong. God, if you want me to believe in you, you better do this. Show up right here, right now.
I don't even want to believe in it. I said, why just doesn't... I may not like him.
All right, okay.
Just walk away.
All right.
But why just doesn't show up?
All right, let me ask you. Do you have a problem with a young man who looks into the face of the young woman who has just said to him, I love you, and he says, I don't believe you unless you have sex with me? Do you have a problem with that?
Maybe that's
what
works.
Well, I do. I got a big problem with that.
I know.
If I say, God, in order for me to believe in you, you must do this, I am manipulative. Don't play that game. Don't play it with a woman, sir, and don't play it with God. Instead, take a person for who they are, let them reveal to you the way they choose to love you, respect them, and do the same with God. And if God chooses to become a human being in Jesus Christ, and the evidence is he's reliable, you better trust him, love him, because he obviously loves you. He gave his life for you. And they're not a bunch of people who give their lives for me. He gave his life for you, so he really loves you. See?
I respect all of these religions, including Islam, Christianity, Judaism. All I'm saying is, why make it so complicated? Why God needs me liking it or loving it?
It's real simple.
If I don't like him or love him...
You don't like him because you resent his authority.
I didn't say I don't like him. I said, the hell with me if I don't like him. Why he needs me to like him?
Because he created you for a purpose, to love him and to love others.
Get rid of me if I don't like him.
Well, no, don't get rid of him. He loves you.
No, get rid of me. If he doesn't
he loves you. He really cares about you.
What I'm saying is the mighty, he's the nicest guy in the world. Come here, stop all the wars and say, hey, I'm here. You guys be nice to each other and live.
That's right. And that's about as dishonest as if I were to try and force him to work among the homeless, or force him to respect this woman, or force him to respect this man. You don't go around forcing people. You respect people. You respect their free will. They make their decision. Now, obviously, I'm trying to convince people. Obviously, I am trying to convince people because I love people. I'm convinced that Jesus is the truth. But to force someone to lie to someone in order to get them to believe in Jesus? That's pathetic.
People. What I'm saying is just here, I'm here. Everybody, don't do bad stuff. Everybody knows what bad stuff is. Don't do this bad stuff. Go do whatever you want. Be happy, live, and whatever rules, he's going to set. And as long as you don't do anything bad to each other, you're all good.
Thank you for watching this compilation of Cliffe Debating Atheists. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for notifications on more compelling discussions. Share your thoughts and your favorite clip in the comment section below.